Hey everybody, wanted to give a little love today to my Schecter Stiletto Extreme-4. Um, I got this used at Guitar Center a few months ago, and I love this bass to death. I was laid up with COVID recently, and when I was stuck in bed with COVID, this bass was at my bedside. And every day when I woke up from misery, the second I could sit upright, I grabbed this, tuned it, and played something, and then fell back in bed. But I have a rule: play every day, and I did it with COVID. It was like that Delta variant. I've got the vax, but still, I got the variant, so here we are. Um, and I'm fine now, so it's all cool. But I just it's so funny. My Donner bass is my go-to, but this is the one that I took with me. I think it was partly because it's like I really wanted a Schecter, and I got it. So the deal with the Schecter, this isn't going to be much of a guitar review right now, as it's late at night, and I'm just kind of blathering at the camera tonight for reasons that escape me. But here we are. I really love the finish on this. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's active electronics, it's two humbuckers, and the tone on this thing is ridiculous. Um, this bass is everything that my Donner bass isn't. It's very sleek, it's very versatile, that's for sure. I get a lot out of my Donner. It's so funny. I try to talk about the Schecter, and I always go back to talking about the Donner. I'll try to tone it down here. But I was thinking about it, like today I was looking at my two basses, and I was thinking, this Schecter really needs to get more attention because I really wanted one. I got it, and then it was kind of like I caught a fish and hung it on the wall or whatever. It's like, well, no, I bought it to play it. I didn't buy it just to have it. I'm not that kind of person. Like I don't want to just amass guitars and then never touch them again. So I don't aspire to have a whole big wall of guitars behind me as I talk, unless it's like photoshopped. Because I don't see the need. You know, you do you. Um, I know this is like famous last words. I anticipate like one more bass, and I know which one I want. But it's going to take some saving up. And then that's the one where it's like, all right, you're done collecting basses, unless it starts on fire or something. But to me, it's the pinnacle, and we'll get into that later. Hopefully, in another video very soon. But just stay tuned. I have my ways and my means of bringing you content. All right, so this bass has got round wound strings on it, which I normally don't like on a bass. I don't like that zipper tone, the sound to it, but I also want a slap. And it's not that you can't do it on flat wounds, but it doesn't have the zip that this has got. So that's one of the reasons. Well, one, I've got this because I really wanted a Schecter, and I got a smoking deal on a used one. And I wasn't going to say no to that, and I'm not sorry for buying this. It's like, it's got a 6-bolt neck. I mean, the quality on this thing is just, oh yeah. Here's a comparison. This is going to be kind of a weird one, but I'm weird. So if you drink wine, you can get like store-bought cheapo wine. Like I was going to say, like, I don't know where we're at with this anymore, but that yellowtail wine used to be the one that people would buy that made them feel like they were being classy about their wine, even if it was like $6. But it had the labels that were really colorful and everything. And I haven't really seen it around. Not to say it doesn't exist, but it's not as prevalent as it used to be, I don't think. Well, then you can go get a really good wine, okay? And the price difference doesn't have to be astronomical. So in white wine land, there's Sauvignon Blanc. And when I was getting into drinking wine, I used to drink like sickly sweet white or sickly sweet wine, period, because that was like my entry into drinking wine, and that's what I could handle. And then I started to kind of venture into the different wine varietals. And it was when I started drinking Sauvignon Blanc, I felt like a grown up. It has a grown up taste to it. And that's kind of like what it is with the Schecter. You know, it's not to diss the Donner or any other guitar, but when I got the Schecter, I just felt like I made it, man. I didn't make it, but but the quality is so great. Um, and I love this to pieces, but don't fall to pieces because I need you. So, um, 24 frets. I mean, that's like amazing. I mean, I'm used to basses ending about here somewhere, which is fine because like you tend to be playing down here anyway. But wow, like to have that kind of range. I was noodling around with the Donner, and I really did hit the speed limit, like somewhere around like I think it's 21 frets on the Donner at least, but this one has 24. um, the tone. This is where it stinks that I'm not doing like much of a like full on review of the tone and everything. And this amp I'm using for the purposes of the fact it's late at night and I'm in an apartment and Jamie's asleep isn't going to do anybody any favors, but let's do it. Bring this tone volume up. I hope you can hear that. Now, even though this is an active bass, it's plugged into a 10-watt amp, which we'll get into that in another video. I'm not gonna. I just keep going on tangents, and I gotta quit it. So right now I've got everything that can be at détente, and then the volume is at. Well, actually, the volume is maxed right now, because that's what it took to move the needle there. All right, just bring the volume down just a little bit. I've got it right now so that the sound of my voice is like the loudest thing between the two of us. But at least it's producing some kind of sound. All right. If I go to the front pickup, it's got a, I guess we'll say comparable to a P bass. If I take the treble down and jack the bass, I mean the whole 10 watts worth of amp is telling me that I can kind of replicate a P bass tone there. But then, all right, so I brought this back to mid pickups and détente, everything again. It's not helping that the tone on this is turned down, but now the back pickup, it's more mid-rangey. And then you can mess around with the tone knobs and kind of get no bass whatsoever. Don't know why you would do that, but you do you. Anyway, But yeah, I really like the versatility of this bass. I love the sleek neck. Um, it doesn't hurt to play the way that even the Donner can get to be after a while. Like if I'm doing root fifth stuff, as I'm stuffing it big time. Let's try that again. Root fifth. Okay. I mean, in my defense, I'm so used to doing it on the Donner that it's weird to do it on the Schecters. It's a much thinner neck. When I do octaves, again, it's not as much of a reach as it is on the P bass style neck where it's chunkier. So I really, and then these inlays are really cool looking. These inlays, oh yeah. Again, I don't know how much this is really reflecting up, but these are like abalone style inlays. Just such a cool bass. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Schecter that I've really got this love affair with them, but I think part of it is their styling. And you look at their different guitars and basses, it's like the styling on theirs can be just really outstanding. And I know there's other guitar manufacturers or bass companies and stuff that make stuff that's at or better quality. But I don't know, just that some, I think here we are with the alcohol again. So craft beer. I used to drink, if I ever had beer, I'd have like Miller Lite, okay? And then I thought, beer is crap. Why do people drink this stuff? I don't get it. And then I drank craft beer because I had to for work, because I worked at a beer and wine shop. I had to crash learn beer. So one of the coworkers was loading me up with all these different beers to quickly learn, and I went on and got books on beer and everything, and found out that there's very good beers out there actually. You know, but if you drink Miller Lite or God forbid Coors Light, yeah. I get it, like why people don't like beer. Like, oh, it's so awful. Like, or whatever the taste. The word honestly, and not, I hate that I'm trashing them, but I'm doing it anyway out of, I guess, love, out of constructive criticism. When I drank Coors Light, to at least know what it tasted like, as if any customer ever asked me what's Coors Light taste like, they tend to just buy it because that's what they always drink, and that's well established. I'm not there to sell it, like to convince them to buy it. I'm there to sell it like ring it up. So the one word that came to mind when I drank Coors Light was insipid. And again, you do you. I know that there's slogan, I don't know if it still is, it used to be cold down easy. It's like, well, yeah, all right. If that's what you want to do, is just like do your beer like a shot, then great. But I enjoyed beer when I started getting into craft beer and really getting it, like the really good craft beers. And again, we're not talking about spending a fortune or that they're all from Belgium or whatever. I mean, just there's well-made craft beers. Well, I view Schecter as like craft beer bass or guitar, but we'll say bass. Because they're not Fender and Gibson, unless they secretly are and I don't know it. I believe Schecter is their own sovereign company, unless I'm dead wrong. But in my little bubble world, I look at Schecter as like going against the Coke and Pepsi of Fender and Gibson. My preference when I was younger was Fender. That if I was going to get anything, I would get a Fender because that's what my guitar heroes played, or bass heroes, depending on what I was buying. So yeah, I was like Fender Central back in the day. And by Fender Central, I had a bass and a electric guitar, and they were both Fender. And I still have it hiding in the background. I've got an Ovation from the 90s, like the early 90s. And it's still hanging in. So that was my one acoustic, and I've had it since the early 90s. So I can't even do the math of how long I've had that. So I tend to get something and stick with it. So that's the thing, is that the Schecter really feels like a bass that's going to be around a while, and not because it's collecting dust because I bought it to have it. It's going to be around a while because I believe this is a quality instrument. Um, what worries me about the Donner, see, the Donner is not meant to be like a forever bass. If it is, great, because saves the monies. Um, I'm already having like truss rod adjustment situations. And there could just come a time that this thing's just going to be like bound for the trash. I'm enjoying it while I have it, but there's going to come a time I'm going to have to upgrade the Donner to something else. My goal is to improve as a bass player to justify the expense. And by expense, we don't mean like I'm going to go out and spend $8,000 on a bass, because that's just not what I'm here for. Because, I mean, that's like cruises, man. Used to be, I would say that's a car payment, but now it's like that's a cruise. That's lots of cruises. So no, I'm not going to spend all that on one instrument. If you want to give me one, great, hit me up. But upgrading the Donner could be as simple as like a new Schecter for 500. You know, um, there's that bass that's to me is the pinnacle, and your mileage may vary. And when I reveal what it is and show you the bass, I'm going to get perhaps comments about, oh my God, that's the thing you're saving up for, and garbage. But that's every electronic everything and every musical instrument. That's all everybody says. Everything stinks. So you do you, I'll do me. The end. So I'm gonna be getting all riled up about fake comments. That haven't happened yet. All right, so um, I'll do a tone thing on this later. See, it's funny how everything like meshes together. Where it's like you can't just talk about one thing without something else. Like I couldn't really talk about this without then talking about the hard key. So then I have to do like a whole thing about how the hard key is and all that. So I'm thinking maybe when I'm at the church this weekend, because I'm out of the apartment and I'll have it with me, I might plug it in and do some tones. I might even bring this with me, and then I can do a double shot of bass and amp discussion. Um, but for right now, the little 10-watt amp is dutifully sitting here waiting to do something. um, anyway, well, thanks for hanging out with me. I guess I'll say, well, one, I hope this gets views, and then two, leave me a comment. Let me know, like, is there any bass you're lusting after? And I was just looking at Sweetwater today, just for laughs, like just to kind of scroll through. I went through lowest price to highest, and I'm in the $1,200 range right now, scrolling, and that's all it is just scrolling. I want to understand like the cheap, trashy $100 bass or whatever. What are we getting into when we start getting into the $1,200 range? It's the woods, it's the name. You'll start to see the higher the price tag goes, you're starting to see the words Paul Reed Smith show up, where you're not going to see that sub 1,000. And there's some other brands that's like nothing, and they start making an appearance. It's, yeah, okay. And again, there's much higher quality Schecters than this one. But for these aren't, I wouldn't say necessarily entry level for them, but this is in there somewhere. I don't think this is regarded as their top of the line by any stretch of the imagination, but again, this is very much an improvement over, like, say, a Squier, well, definitely P-Bass, or I would even say Squier Jazz. Again, double humbucker, active, and the quality being such, it's like, I would gravitate this first before a Squier. It's just me. Anyway, what are you lusting after? And do you want to see more bass reviews and things like that? Let me know. Let me know what you want so I can deliver on it. I'm here for you. This is a community. Let's share. Thanks for watching.